come together in this anointed place on this appointed date to honor our fallen warriors, those champions of freedom who made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation. And I especially want to thank their families. On behalf of the men and women of our armed forces, I want you to know that you are always in our hearts. We, along with a grateful nation, remain inspired by your strength and remarkable courage.
That, of course, General Martin Dempsey, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, as he participated today in the Memorial Day observance ceremony in Washington. Welcome to the Memorial Day edition of Malzberg. As you can see, I'm Rick Unger, filling in for Steve Malzberg, who is enjoying a well-earned day with his family, as I'm sure all of you are doing on this important day and important celebration each year. To kick things off, who better than our own White House correspondent and chief political columnist, John Gizzi? But to get things going, before we bring Gizzi on, I want you to take a look at this.
You made a strong case for the importance of the USA Freedom Act and the president's concern. In the week ahead, while Congress is out, will he call members of the Senate himself and personally lobby them for this?
Hopefully that won't be necessary. Hopefully members of the Senate recognize that there is a very easy solution to this problem that will balance our civil liberties protections with the need to protect our country, that will reflect the bipartisan compromise that's already been reached in the House, and that will reflect the deadline that the NSA has.
Let's bring in John Gizzi now to discuss this most important issue as we're looking at the last week where the Patriot Act can even function. John, welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here, and a happy Memorial Day to you and all those out in TV land, especially the men and women who served our country.
Indeed, and the same back to you, John. So you asked a very important question Friday, and it's one that everybody should be thinking of, because as we find the Senate out on their own holiday recess, the Patriot Act runs out, if I'm not mistaken, at midnight on the 31st of this month. Am I correct?
Exactly. And if it runs out and there's no reauthorization, Congress and the administration have to start from square one, resculpting the act and putting together the legislation once again. Look, it sailed through the House of Representatives with only 88 dissenting votes. Its one major change was the USA Freedom Act, which limited strictly the bulk collection of data that so alarms civil libertarians and quite a few members of Congress.
Let me ask you, how does that limitation work exactly?
Well, very simply, there's restrictions on what the National Security Agency and others who are authorized can collect. For example, things that are considered personal and other matters cannot be collected. Bulk collection. Getting all information, including those not germane to security, is banned. And this was a ruling of the Second Circuit Court of Appeals.
Right.
Now, how they go about that and what they decide is pertinent to national security and non-germane remains to be seen. But at least this was a victory on paper for those who voiced concerns about that part of the Patriot Act.
So basically what you have is you have the Second Circuit Court of Appeals putting out a very important ruling just a couple weeks ago as to the illegality of what's been going on. The House of Representatives, in a very bipartisan fashion, reacts to that. They address that issue, and then in all other respects, they really continue the Patriot Act. It goes over to the Senate, where it runs into a buzzsaw. Explain to everybody exactly what's been happening in the Senate.
Well, very simply, there are those in the Senate, most notably Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who would like to see the Patriot Act retained in the exact form that it was, without the section dealing with bulk collection. There's also some grumbling among opponents of the Patriot Act that the Second Circuit never truly outlawed bulk collection and said it can still continue. And again, that's a matter of semantics and interpretation. I'm just reporting what's there and what members of the House who voted for the revised edition said on Wednesday last. Now, that said, Rand Paul, the other Republican senator from Kentucky, and I might add someone Senator McConnell backs for president, is a strong champion of the reforms and the bans on data collection. In other words, He heard what Edward Snowden said, and with his own libertarian instincts responds accordingly. That's an illustration of the differences that's holding up a passage by the Senate and the signature of the president to reauthorize. Josh Earnest may believe that it won't be necessary for the Senate to be lobbied by the president, as he did in the case of the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
Personally, I don't see how it will be reauthorized by the evening of May 31st without him taking some role in this.
Well, you know what, John? I mean, the reality is, even if the president decides that he needs to lobby, wants to lobby, where's he going to find these senators to lobby? Because in the midst of this incredibly important question, whether you're for limitations on the NSA or against them, it's a really important question. And where's the Senate? Well, they're all dispersed on vacation. So how's the president going to lobby them?
Well, I'm going to tell you, through telephone and obviously through tracking down senators. The White House is very good at that. And Josh Earnest did tell me that the president's team, his congressional liaison office, is at work on this.
So,
now, again, he didn't come as far as to saying the president is working the phones or will be, but obviously they're making plans for it.
So one of the possible fatalities, if you will, of this fight, it looks like this relationship between Senator Paul and Senator McConnell, which had been going swimmingly, even to the point where Senator McConnell had actually endorsed Rand Paul's run for president.
Yes.
That relationship looks extremely strained right now, as Paul has been really throwing roadblocks in McConnell's way on this at every opportunity.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. In politics, one thing I've learned after many years covering politicians and reporting on these sort of things is that there are differences, and sometimes they can get very severe and friendships can be strained. In the long run, it's not going to be
You
a
think
rupture.
they'll survive it? All right,
No.
I want to switch gears on you, because you wrote a really interesting piece discussing whether or not it's possible or likely that the United States may actually apologize to Iran for the 1953 coup, which we backed. We kind of made it happen, and in return, an apology from the Iranians for what they did with the hostages. Quick answer. We've only got a short time left.
Well, very simply, the theocratic regime in Tehran has always said that one of the prerequisites toward normalized relations with the U.S. is an apology for the U.S. role in the 1953 coup that overthrew the regime of Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh and restored the Shah of Iran, then in exile in Italy, to the throne. That said, many Americans balk at this, and they note that Iran seized hostages and held them for 444 days.
You think it's likely to happen?
No, I don't think so. What may happen, and again, Josh Earnest wasn't giving me any broad hints.
I gotta wrap you up. I apologize.
All right.
And as we go out, I want us to play something that you also did on Friday at the press conference. Hopefully we can run that. But coming up next, commentary writer for the Washington Examiner, Jason Russell, joins us. But first, as you know, today is Memorial Day, and it's important that we remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice, giving their life for our country. Can we please take a moment now and remember the fallen? Please do so with me. We'd like you to do that by watching this.